Hey, what's up everybody? Alright. I was just doing a little bit of sculpting on the torso of this character. I still have a bunch of those extra eyeballs that we placed in there yesterday during our stream, and a bunch of other kind of junky stuff, but I wanted to spend some time and just focusing in here, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with this collarbone. Try to simplify this form, play around with that. And I'm thinking maybe just kind of if we can get some kind of cut or separation between these two surfaces so that there's a little bit of a turn here, I think that would be enough. So I've been kind of just sketching in here real quick, trying to get some really hard and rough lines. I did the same thing a little bit down on the stomach, just playing around with trying to figure out what we want to do with these quick little lines that are in there. And I don't know, just kind of playing around right now, trying to figure it all out. But yeah, feel free to jump in, ask any questions. Things are pretty messy in these two areas right now that I've been just sketching around on, but yeah. Gonna be, as always, a pretty chill stream, and oh my gosh, these eyes. These eyes are bothering me. I don't remember even which one is which at this point. I think that's the first one we did. Hand painted just a sphere, and then on the other two we tried some graphic stuff with geometry, and on this third one we... that's the one that has the concavity in it, and that one has a lens over it that we rendered with transparency, which was a lot of fun. Z-Hog, good morning, and welcome, man. Oh, man. Whew. These collarbones, huh? What do we want to do here? I think I was kind of on the right track with what I was doing before. Let me see here. I had a reference image somewhere that I was looking at for something. Collarbone. Maybe in a similar style for a 3D figure. Let's try, like I said, just getting a kind of a separation. So I don't want this negative here, I don't think. Let's just bring this up flat. Transition up, and then back. So I started to build up this shape, and what that ended up doing was, here, when you start to build up a shape like that, that's not enough. I don't know if this will be strong enough. Yeah, it's not going to be strong enough. Here, let's try this. Look at the negative. So as you start to pull up that shape and sculpt that up on top of your surface, you're going to get a little bit of a negative surrounding that. So you can see that concavity that we're getting there on the, and that's just a result of using like the pinch and standard and, you know, whatever else to build up this form. It's just a natural result of that. But instead, I think what I would like to do is get just a 1-2 transition. So have that be the peak, but fill in the rest of that so that we don't get that negative per se. So that's what I'm trying to do right now, using my trim brush just to fill in that negative and start trying to find a shape that we like that makes sense in 3D and represents our concept nicely. Craig says, where'd you get the reference image? It's by Shep on Twitter, at Shep, or I'm sorry, not at Shep, it's at the Shep or the real Shep. Here, if you just Google Shep artist on Twitter, @_just Shep, put a couple more underscores in there. There you go, that's her. She's got a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to scroll through all of her artwork. She's got some pretty not safe for work stuff, and I would prefer not to bring up a ton of that on stream. That's close enough. But yeah, she did a bunch of Halloween or not Halloween style characters, but you know, spooky characters. She had like I don't know what the monster would actually be called, but it's half woman, half spider. Kind of like a centaur, but instead of a horse body, spider body. And I was thinking about doing that character instead, but I asked some people on Twitter and they voted for the mummy, which I like this character. I think it's pretty cool. Hence why I was fine with doing, you know, any of the three that I was looking at. So this is what got voted on. It was pretty close. It was like a 60-40 split. But yeah, definitely give Shep a follow on Twitter. Check out more of her work. Got a ton of cool stuff. If you guys are looking for some spooky concepts or anything. Alright, so I'm trying to get that to be a little bit more clean. A little rough right now. Mgava, welcome back. What up? And good morning. Good morning as well. Gliffy, checking the uptime. Literally like 5 minutes, dude. You got here. You got here at the beginning. What's going on, man? Definitely getting some lag right now that I don't want. It's not too cool. So I'm trying to get rid of that negative, that concavity there as much as I can. Kind of working out, being a little bit of a hassle. I actually tried to do a little bit of cleanup around the torso as we try to interpret a lot of the shapes in the stomach. Or not shapes, I shouldn't say shapes, I should say lines. Very simple kind of sketched out lines over there that aren't giving a ton of info. So I was looking at a few other references to try to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And just kind of playing around with it. And that's kind of what I'm continuing to do right now. Play around with these shapes. Specifically the collarbone right now. Just get something clean. I do have subdivs, but I gotta be careful around here that I don't smooth out and lose all my form. Bought some chai tea yesterday per your recommendation. It was very good. Awesome, man. Yeah, I love chai. Chai's my favorite. There's a few different types of, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of different types of chai tea. I recommend the what is it? Private Selections Black Chai. Oh man, their black chai is so good. Especially if it's cold out. Ah, man. Now you make me want to go get some tea. I'm actually skipping tea this morning and I've gone straight to the energy drink. So probably not the best idea I've ever had, but I'm a tired boy this morning. Hey, Ashley! Oh god. Rating with 99. That's never happened before. Well, welcome everybody. How you guys doing? I was actually just hanging out on Ashley's stream not too long ago. Like an hour ago. And I got gifted a sub to Ashley's stream. And I got her beautiful, beautiful face emoticon there. That's a good one. I like it a lot. How long have I been on? I think like 7 minutes? 8 minutes now? What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome. Well, since there's a lot of new people here, I guess we can load up what we've been working on for the past few days. Thank you, Render Me Gone, for the follow. What's up, man? Let's see. We've been doing a bunch of head style studies. I got a bunch of these. So give me a minute while I import some of them. Super Chihuahua. Nice name. Is this for a contest? This character over here on the left is not for a contest. No. No. I'll explain here in a second. Lopar Panda, thank you for the follow. Jeez. Jeez, guys. Alright. Let's grab a few more of these so you guys can see what's going on. Last one. Can move my light here. So I've been doing a bunch of style studies, just like little sculpts, little busts. Did you study ZBrush in a course or school? I did not. Just kind of bought a couple books and went ham for a few years. Are you doing the contest? I'm not sure which contest you're referring to, so probably not. Okay, so just so you guys can see at least what we've been doing on stream for the past few days here. Joey, thank you. Oh no, is it Joey C. Art, thank you for the follow. So, just a few busts, head style studies that I've been working on. Started off with one of these here. Gamer7, oh god, so many follows. Thank you guys, I appreciate it so much. I literally just jumped on stream too, and I was just talking about how tired I was and how I have an energy drink here. Re-angle, I think. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. Art Station Challenge! No, I'm not participating in the Art Station Challenge. Ashley, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the sub. Holy crap. That's so awesome of you, thank you. I appreciate that a ton. You guys are awesome. Predrag gifted a sub. Ah, awesome, man. Thank you so much for that. The Unseen, thank you for the follow. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to get a word in edgewise here. Yes, Midoriya, I love me some My Hero Academia. Soul Ass, thank you for the follow. Snakehook brush. I got that down here on my quick bar menu. It's a good one. Not doing the Art Station Challenge? No, I'm not. I know. How could I? How dare I? Alright. Whew. We back. Just take a breath. So, bunch of heads. Nothing crazy. Quick few studies. Concept artist for this one is by Miji Lee, 2D concept artist. Obviously 3D by old Beanie Boy here. Next one, David Loya on ArtStation. You can find their work. And same for the last one here. So just a few different head style studies. Lisa, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And then we're starting to work on a new character, at least for the past couple days here. We're still in the very early stages of that Alientro. Thank you for the follow. So, I've been looking at the body proportionally here a little bit this morning for about 15 minutes before I jumped on stream. And just started to work on this weird kind of transitional lines that I see going on up here for the clavicle. It's like coming down really far, really sharp. There's not a lot of info, obviously. It's just a quick like 2D, like quick little couple lines there. So not a lot to go off of, but just starting to block that in right now. Loving those forms. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Up here on our face, let's see, what do we got going on? I'll turn off the poly paint on the eye since it's distracting. We actually destroyed... Oh crap, I missed that one. I'm sorry guys. Let me go back here. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. Whoever that was. Thank you for the follow. Sexy mummy, that's right. At least, not yet in 3D, but I've kind of destroyed her nose and mouth so that I was able to create the wrappings around here, around the face, without having a whole lot of overlap. Plus, it's never going to be seen. So a lot of what we did on our last stream on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel was going through the process of how we would start blocking out a lot of this stuff. Obviously, none of the hair is connected. These are all separate objects, so we'll still have to do all that. Kuromi? It's been a while, and I can't hiragana off the top of my head too well anymore, but thank you for the follow. How long do you usually spend on a sculpt? Until it's done, or until I give up. Let's see. Looks awesome so far. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it so much, and thank you again for the raid. She's still pretty rough right now. We got a long way to go. We're probably like maybe halfway or so. Why aren't you warning your dog? Monty, isn't it? Monty, or is that your lizard? I'm not sure. Do you like the MAH cut brush? The MAH cut mech brush. It's pretty helpful. It's kind of like a damn standard and a pinch brush combined. It's pretty nice. It helps me from essentially going over stuff and making the same stroke twice in a row. Rarepath09, thank you for the follow. What is going on? Stylized stuff takes a while, and Monty is your doggo. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I heard you when I joined in this morning. You were talking about some lizards of some kind. I didn't know you had lizards. I thought you just had your pupper, your corgi. I believe he's a corgi. I want a corgi so bad. A corgi or a Shiba? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. And I will try to catch you next time you're on your stream as well. Perfect proportions? Oh god. I don't know about that. Game Art 101, what's up? Thank you for the follow. Jeez, never gotten so many follows at once. This character is proportionally pushed incredibly far. Like, just how much forward she's thrust in there. Oh, and by the way, I will shout out the original 2D artist for this image as well. Definitely check out Shep on Twitter. It's _JustShep with a few more underscores thrown in there. Awesome artist. I'm not going to scroll through her timeline here because she's got some not safe for work stuff, but definitely check her out. Really cool. Got some great stuff on there. So right now, essentially what I've been focusing on during this time is a lot of silhouette stuff. Yo, David! Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for the follow. A lot of what I've been focusing on is silhouette proportions. So that's been a lot of our time here in the past couple days now. Now I'm starting to get into some internal shapes, really rough right now, obviously. So right before I jumped on here, I started sculpting some additional form here in the torso, really quick. Nothing crazy yet. And then this is kind of where I'm focusing up here. So let's get back into it. Just sitting here. What I've been trying to do here for the last few minutes is try to get rid of the, I built that shape up really far for the clavicle, and then I started to get a really strong negative concavity on the other side. This is okay now, it's not nearly as bad as it was, but the more you, like here, let me grab my inflate brush, the more you like start to build up one shape, right, the more it's going to create that negative on the opposite side of the stroke, the outside of the stroke. So I've been trying to figure out exactly how I want to represent that. We're getting closer. Excuse me, energy drinks kill my stomach. That's why I don't drink them very often. Normally we go the tea route. But yeah, let's continue to clean this up here. Dafu Kanzan, can you explain how to sculpt the effect of something pushing down on the skin? I can, yeah. Bikini digs into the hip, or weapon sitting on your trapezius. Yes, right up here, if you're holding like a big old club or something. I've done some characters like that before. For example, like let's say around here, if you have a bracelet, or you're talking about gravity specifically, it would be pretty much the same effect here. But with this bracelet, maybe the way I would probably start tackling something like this, depending on, so you're talking about gravity specifically, so depending on the weight of the object, I would say that's gonna define how much that's gonna push against the skin, and depending on what part of the body it is. So for an arm, you might have a little bit more squeeze in if you have something resting on your arm, or a little bit more depression, or whereas if it's sitting on your trapezius, it's a little bit tighter up there, so maybe you're not gonna have as much skin moving around, but you can start building up just a little bit around the outside of that edge, and then soften that, and just play with that till you get to a good place. I would probably just use masking to tackle something like that, but I think the main thing to keep in mind is where it is on the body, and then just think about what's going on underneath the surface. If it's a bony place, obviously you're not going to have a ton of depression or interaction with the skin, and same goes for if it's like a really squishy place, like kind of like my arm. My arm's a little squishy. Someone else's arm might not be as squishy as mine though. No, I did not draw the reference on the left. I just pulled up the artist on Twitter, Shep on Twitter. Definitely go give her a follow and check out her work. Isona, thank you for the follow. What's going on? Let's get in here on the torso and start cleaning up some of this, since we've pushed that a little bit closer to where we want up there on the neck. So for something like this as well, where I'm creating these straps around the torso, around the waist, like these are just cloth bandages, so I don't think a cloth bandage is going to have too much effect on your skin. It's not going to have a lot of depression going on there, so I don't know, maybe depending on how tight it is, if they're really tight, then maybe you could have a little bit depression in the skin. But also just think about, like, if it's really tight, then that strap's also going to have to be really straight. It's going to have to look like it has some tension behind it. So these are all just like little things that I would try to keep in the back of your head as you're going. Let's get in here and start sculpting up some of this stomach a little bit more. We have very little information to go off of with these quick little lines from our sketch. So, I don't know, I'm not gonna put a ton of information down here on the stomach. I really don't think it's necessary, and I think it draws away from the character as a whole. It's a pretty simplistic character. The main thing that's that I'm focusing on for the character, and that's obviously like the main feature of this character, in my opinion, is the silhouette. The silhouette and just the pose in general are really appealing. So that's kind of what I'm mainly trying to focus on. So a lot of these internal lines, internal shapes aren't going to be, the end-all be-all for this character. A serval, I'm not sure what that is. I do not know. Thank you, appreciate it, no problem. pen is like freaking out on my tablet here. But yeah, I'm actually going to delete these. If you guys have any questions about these, let me know and I'll re-import them. But they're just gonna kind of bog down my quick save files, so I'm just gonna delete all, so I don't have these really large quick save files. I think we spent about 2 days on each of these on stream, so not too long. They were a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working on these characters and just getting to have the experience of looking at other people's styles and try to just figure out how they work with their faces and everything else. I definitely recommend, if you're looking for some practice, do some style studies on some faces, proportions. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot. So some of the things that I'm trying to keep in mind here with the silhouette, I don't need this silhouette getting super complex. And I would say that we're close to the shape that we're looking for. We want to soften the rib transition because I have a really hard cut line in here, actually on both of these. So let's look at doing that too. Are you gonna make this game ready? I am not, no. My professional background is in working on stuff for production, for rapid prototyping, for toys, collectibles, minis, life-size figures. Done a lot of stuff for life-size figures. Done some realistic stuff for the Museum of Flight in Seattle. I like to say that I've done as cartoony as stuff as the Looney Tunes, and I've done as realistic as stuff as you know, real characters, real pilots, and other things like that. I've worked on stuff for Ghostbusters. I've done stuff for the Flintstones. I've done stuff for Madagascar, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Scooby-Doo, a lot of stuff. Bunch of stuff. Mainly all, like I said, stuff for production, stuff that's going to be produced at life size or at a much smaller scale for a toy or a collectible or something like that. I'm mainly using my trim brush here. Whoa. Starting to figure that out. This is starting to get a little heavy. If we just looking at our silhouette alone, this starts to feel really like bottom heavy through here. So let's drop down to a low subdiv and start straightening some of this out. Dougie, welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. Let's see. There's a fine line with the abs, absolutely. I don't know if you mean there's like a fine cut line or if you're just saying there's like a line between abs or not. I don't know. But yes, we'll continue going on here. We're getting there. The main thing that I'm concerned about, like I said, is the silhouette starting to get a little out of hand. And then this rib cage, I'm trying to focus on all this stuff at once here, but softening that edge so it's not quite such a sharp transition. When I start sculpting, I like to block in all these like hard cut lines through here to like get separation points and figure out where the surface is turning. And then after I get further on, I start transitioning some of that like I'm doing now. Did you learn in college or self-taught? I'm self-taught, yeah. I went to school for essentially front-end web dev and web design, and then I discovered ZBrush about in my last year of school. Discovered digital sculpting actually, and then got into ZBrush. Actually, I got into ZBrush while doing a study abroad trip to Tokyo. Mainly just using my trim brush to knock a lot of this form back. Let's make sure our silhouette is starting to shape up correctly. I think it still feels really heavy-handed if you ask me. Wonder if I can start to get a little bit more form here and then help this edge transition a little bit better. What's going on? Is my brush broken? What's up here? Trim brush is acting really weird. Rye Angle says that they lived in Japan for 2 years. Awesome. Where'd you live? Sounds like a lot of fun. I was in Shinjuku, just northwest of Tokyo, downtown Tokyo. I appreciate you describing the process. So helpful to know what you're doing and why. Yeah, of course. It's really hard for me to talk and sculpt at the same time, but I try to explain as much as I can here. There are moments where I will get very silent, as if I'm trying to like concentrate on something specific. But yeah, it's just kind of hard to talk and sculpt at the same time. Those Let's Players got it real rough, right? Gotta talk and play video games at the same time. Oh man, watch out. Let's see. Don't want to have ripped abs on a sexy mummy. Yeah. Sculpting along. Awesome, man. Welcome back, Side Effects, by the way. What's going on? Let's see. Tohoku. I'm not sure where Tohoku is, but you say up north. Somewhere up north. Akita Ken. Ooh, fun. That's awesome. Yeah, I was in Tokyo for 3 months on a study abroad trip, just studying Japanese. This was 5 years ago now, or going on 5 years ago. Just about. I really enjoyed it. I was, I hated studying languages before that, but I just, like, when I was forced to in school, I hated it. But then I just started learning Japanese on my own, and then I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's try it. I'm never gonna have another chance to do something like this. Probably. And that's also when I started using ZBrush, so some things worked out there. Alright, so pretty simple form right now. I still don't like if we look at the silhouette's gotten better for sure, but if we look at the negative in here, I think the way that surface is turning is just a little bit too gradual up to this point. Looking at your negative can be very helpful sometimes in just figuring out what's going on your surface. I like to shift my light around too. That really helps see like where this is transitioning. I would like to move this highlight line right there. That's where it is right now. I want to move that in more. So let's try, whoops, move backface masking a little bit, just to pull in around here. And it's not quite working the way I want it to. I want to shift that edge just a little. Do this a little heavy-handed at first, just so that we start getting the surface to turn. It's the most important part. Move our light back. That's more so what I'm looking for. I have abs somewhere under there. Yeah, me too. Me too, man. Your girlfriend is a boxer, has abs all day. I only have abs at night in my dreams, so it's unfortunate, but it's just how it goes sometimes. Let's take another gander at our silhouette here. I think what I would prefer to get in the silhouette transition for this, just looking here at what's happening, I'd like to get a little bit of that point up to there and try to get more of a straight happening up to the ribs. We've got a nice hit going on in the back there. If we can get that to happen up here, that would be pretty nice. It's just like right here it starts to take a pretty sharp transitional turn. We can start straightening out some of this, get that to feel a little bit better. I think that's going to help a lot. And then after we're done kind of playing with that, we can soften some of this form. Like I said, we got a little heavy-handed in there for a minute. And let's just soften out this. Make sure that our silhouette's reading. And make sure that these awkward little shadows over here aren't happening too much. Let's make sure that our silhouette's feeling okay here. Thin and tall sounds like a slow-mo person. Gliffy boy. Gliffy, I love how you jumped in here right at the beginning and checked the uptime. You know what time I stream. Oh, and by the way, I guess for people that are new here, I stream pretty much at the same time every day. Just at noon Eastern, US time. Eastern Standard. And then I also stream on the Pixelogic channel on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now I will probably, let's see here. Near, what's up? Thank you for the follow. How you doing? I feel like we want to pull out this edge. Luckily I have a polygroup here, so that makes that easy. So let's see here. Let's help this form transition a little bit nicer. I'm gonna kind of break some stuff before we fix it, but that's always a little bit unavoidable. And I'm not using perspective right now, just because I find it to be a little bit easier when I'm trying to make silhouette changes. And if I'm zoomed in really close, perspective tends to screw up my camera. Let's try to fill in some of that for the silhouette more. I think we'll be headed in a good direction, and we can maybe go back up to the clavicle and start working on that some more. There's a lot of little things here. I've essentially just used polygroups on this to help remesh and have the edge flow in a specific direction so that we can get some tight creases here around the crotch and have some nice edge flow in some different areas as well around the arms there, transitioning for all that. It'd be very helpful. I'll show you guys how to do that a little bit later once I go to ZBrush again. Seagull Rush, did I notice? I did notice, I think. I don't know. What am I supposed to notice? Maybe I didn't. Morning there, 9:30 a.m. So you're out on the West Coast then. You a regular at Pixo now? Yeah, like I said, I stream there on Tuesdays. Tuesdays at 6 Eastern Time. There we... Whoa, crap. Starting to fix this a lot. It's starting to feel a lot better. Does Shep use ZBrush? No, she's just a 2D artist. Looks like he's using a Cintiq. I may be. I am, yeah. All my gear is listed somewhere down below. There's like a little gear thing down there. I can't see cheers. I saw your 1-bit cheer. I think it was a single bit. I think it has to be over 100 bits or something for it to show the notification. I'm not sure. I believe that's correct. I'd have to check though to make sure. Surface is getting a little dirty, isn't it? Let's clean it up here. So before we got done with our style studies, our quick like little head busts, I was thinking about doing a different one, and I still want to do it. Let me show you guys which one I was planning on. Jon Snow action here by Terry Way. You can find some of his artwork on ArtStation. But I was thinking about doing this dude here and then doing the White Walker version of him as well, and just showing the process for how we could transform this. It's not all that different, mainly like proportionally there's some changes here. You can see sunken in along the cheek, you can see the shape change there, as well as some changes around the brow and nose. Whoops, brow and nose. So that's pretty much it. And then of course some color changes, beard, mustachio. That's really about it. But I thought that would be a lot of fun, so maybe we'll do that one after this mummy. I haven't really decided yet, but we gotta finish our mummy first, don't we? Or eventually just abandon it, which we've done more than a few times on projects. Nothing's ever finished, right? Only abandoned. Looks really good, thank you. Thanks, thanks Pixelogic. What's up? I'm not sure if that's Kyle or who's hanging out right now. What's going on, guys? I'm not finger painting, finger sculpting on a touchscreen. That sounds so terrible. Oh my gosh. That sounds absolutely awful. Alright, I need to move these out since I've been pulling around on this so much. And adjust these wrappings. Luckily these are all just low poly geometry that I have a dynamic subdiv on, so they're really easy for me to tweak. But we're still working on that silhouette, starting to get that to transition a lot nicer. I think it's starting to work a lot better right now. It's looking better. Everything looks bad until it doesn't though. It's a slow process. Our belly button's ginormous. I'm just using move with backface masking right now to like pull in on both sides, and then I'll dynamesh that together later. As long as this is feeling better, I'm happy with that. If anything, maybe we can like get some more volume here. Very strong silhouette, like I said. Pretty crazy. That's really the reason I chose this character. I try to always have a goal with each project that I do. Much like with the style studies, trying to figure out and learn from other artists with those. which is kind of always the case of projects that are personal for me. But with this one specifically, a lot of what I'm trying to focus on is just the overall silhouette of the character and making that feel really good. More girl models like this, please. If you go on Shep's Twitter, again, that's where's my browser? Just Shep on Twitter. She has a really cool spider character. It's like a centaur. Isn't it half man, half horse centaur? Isn't that right? It's like that, but instead of a horse, it's a spider. It's really cool. I was thinking about doing that one. I like the guy portrait with the lifted brow. Nice one. Thank you, man. Again, that's David Loya on ArtStation. Definitely check out his stuff. Super talented 2D artist. Let's see. Let's look at this silhouette here, because that starts to feel a little hard there with that transition. Where'd my mask go? Okay, fine. Diogo Francalweb. Wow, what a name. Thank you for the follow. That was a mouthful. And Antonio Mello, thank you for the follow as well. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. Alright, so that's starting to feel a little bit better. Let's transition that even more out here to make sure that that silhouette is wrapping nice and clean. Let's see. Have you ever tried any supernatural creatures? Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I have anything on my ArtStation. I off the top of my head, I did like an owl humanoid creature somewhat recently, kind of like a naked owl humanoid. I don't know if it's on there. I don't think it is. I'm not gonna look right now. But it is on my Instagram, I think. Actually, it should be. Yeah, I've done lots of stuff. Jobin says, do you consider do you consider a tablet essential piece of kit for ZBrush and sculpting? Not necessarily a graphics tablet with a monitor, but a tablet with pressure sensitivity, in my opinion, is essential, yes. I highly recommend an Intuos tablet. They're really, really awesome. Really like them a lot. And if you want something even cheaper, grab one of the Wacom Bamboo tablets. They're under $100, and they work super well. Just as good as an Intuos, just a little bit smaller. Still really messy in a lot of these areas, but that's okay. That's easy to clean up later. Pretty good with sculptures. Might as well dip my toe into ZBrush since I get a free coffee. Let's see. Does Shep have a Twitter or ArtStation account? Yep, I've pulled it up multiple times now. And it's just Google. Type in Google, Twitter, Shep, artist. You will find her. She's the first one. Super talented. Whoops, come back, please. I'm now just going through the process of cleaning up all those ugly little pockmarked strokes that are causing these like little tiny shadows. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but still we gotta clean that stuff up. And transition back here a lot nicer, because that's pretty ugly, giving us a nasty shadow. Alright. So let's see, what do we want to do next? I think I mentioned in our last stream, our legs obviously need to be pushed together more. I have not done that yet though, so we don't get some geometry combining in the middle of our seam line there across the x-axis. That's always really annoying, so I'm waiting to do that till later, till we get into posing probably. Be doing a little bit more with twisting her hips. The impression that I'm getting from this character is that she's, you know, leaning a little bit away from the camera and also twisting her hips or her butt towards the camera. So that'll help with that proportionally, but we won't make any more probably length changes or anything like that to our silhouette until we get into that stage. Let's see, what did I miss here? Bobo the Seal, thank you for the follow. I don't know if that's the Bobo that I'm thinking of, but if so, welcome and thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. How you doing? Bobo the Seal, at least Bobo the Seal that I know, that I'm thinking of, is an awesome 3D artist that creates a lot of really cool low poly and hand painted stuff. Just a ton of really cool work. Let's see, trying to catch up here on chat. All right. So what's next, gang? We got a lot of stuff that we need to fix. Like I said, we're maybe like halfway done with this. So we're gonna spend at least a couple more days hanging out on stream working on this gal. It's the real seal. Puns are the worst. Heading to lunch, but I'll check back once I get back in. Looking great. Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. We're still in those early awkward teen stages right now, but we're getting there. Cheshire, thank you for the link post there to Shep's work. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, definitely everybody go give Shep a follow if you haven't already. Ton of really cool work over there. Man, I feel like sculpting is such a slow process, in particular for me, especially. While streaming, I feel like I'm just so much slower too. Well, I don't feel like I am much slower, I am much slower. That's why if I do have time to do personal streaming personal sculpting off of stream, I try to get that in real quick, but a lot of the time it's hard to make additional time to do that stuff. Like I said, sometimes I get here and I try to concentrate on making a form change and I just can't talk and sculpt at the same time. My brain can't do it. My big dumb brain. Whoops. Trying to fix that transition, which isn't a huge deal, but again, the focus of this character is really on silhouette, so I'm trying to spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff. I do this a lot in all my characters, so this isn't like anything different than what I would normally do, but try to spend a little bit extra attention here. It's always good. There we go, look at that, nice and clean. That's what we like to see. Nice clean forms in the silhouette. Nice clean shape. Beautiful. I had a little bit of poly paint on here earlier. I kind of just got rid of it because I knew I was going to be making so many more sculptural changes that it wasn't really worth it at that point. Forget if you answered this one at one point in one of your other streams. How long have you been sculpting? I've been sculpting for going on 5 years now. Yeah, I get asked that just about every stream. Should put it down in the FAQ. But I always say also, when people ask that question, I feel like normally there's some kind of comparison going on there. And I would just say that don't compare yourself to other artists based on a time frame like that. Just because 5 years could mean that I sculpted one day every year. Like, I've only sculpted 5 times. Like, oh wow, that's crazy. Or it means I could have sculpted, you know, every day of the year. It's not really a good gauge of time. I think just yesterday during our last stream, we did a quick estimate of how many. Like, I would love the ability to get the number of hours that I've sculpted, kind of like the way Steam does. It tells you how long you've had a uptime on a game or something. If I could get that for ZBrush, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, just don't get what's the word? Like, don't feel bummed out if one artist or somebody else is like, I've only been sculpting for a year, and they're like, oh, I've been sculpting for 5, and I'm nowhere near as good as this guy. It's like, well, there's a lot of other factors that go into that. I didn't do anything with art before I got into ZBrush and digital sculpting. Didn't do any drawing. Didn't do any clay sculpting. Just kind of dove head first and went to town. I had a Cintiq Companion hybrid, David, which is the Android version of the one that you have. It was pretty nice. I liked it a lot. I'm sure the Gen 1 Cintiq yeah, mine was Gen 1 as well, I think. But they've gotten a lot better. They stopped doing those. Now they have the Mobile Studio Pros or whatever. They have a bunch of. They keep switching the name and. Still pretty much the exact same thing. I think they're just longer now. Ryan says, don't worry, I'm slow without streaming. I am also slow at sculpting without streaming. I'm just about like 2 or 3 times faster than I am on here when I'm talking and doing stuff at the same time. It's because it's hard for me, at least, to really split my attention mentally. I'm not super great at it. I'm going to have to move some of the straps after I get a little bit more volume back here, but that's okay. All these little tweaks are kind of necessary right now. Which music playlist are you using in stream to avoid copyright? I'm just streaming a playlist of Popsky's music right now. Popskyy, Pop Sky. Really awesome artist. He also live streams. I believe he streams some video games and also the creation of his music. Really cool guy. Really cool music. I'm a big fan. Hence why we jam out to his music on stream. He lets anybody use his music for, you know, YouTube videos or streams or whatever. He doesn't care. So I like to shout him out a lot since he's such a cool dude. Can you draw well? I can draw a really good stick person. That's about it. No, we can't all be Michael Pavlovich. That's true. Where can I see on Spotify, music or playlist? Just literally search Pop Sky. I'm just playing a shuffle through all of his music right now. I don't have it set up to where I can... The only way I can like pull up the song name right now, if you guys want to know, is adjust my volume and we'll show it up there. Alright, let's adjust that strap that we just kind of broke there a little bit. Should be fine. Let's do... There we go. I think I'll adjust all of these at once. Let's merge these together. Reconstruct subdivision levels. And control, click, and drag so that we can mask that out. Actually, no. I'll just keep them all in mask. We'll just move them all together. Oh, a little bit of pull out there. Now, I could go into Transpose Master, but I'm fine with just combining these since they were all at 5 subdivs. And then I could just, you know, combine them all. Still retain all the subdivs, no problem. I also wanted to somewhat soften the edge on these. They still have that creased hard edge, and that doesn't really make sense for a bandage, if you ask me. So just a quick little smooth pass here and there. I think that'll be feeling a little bit nicer. Ooh, come on back. And if you guys haven't seen the technique for how I've been making these straps, I'll be making some more here shortly, so we can show that off again. Oh, and I don't think I have mentioned that all my streams, if you do come in here a little bit late, or if you miss another one of my live streams, everything goes up on my YouTube channel after my streams are over. So no worries on that side of things. Can you draw a really good stick person with a round head, or does it turn out to be oval? That's a good question. Let's find out. This is my go-to. Let's see, how's my bad mesh? Very laggy. This is the extent of my stick person drawing skills. Oh no, this is so laggy. Too laggy for me. We'll just draw in ZBrush here. Beautiful. Still very, very laggy. Beautiful. Here, I'll sign it as well. Wow, this is so laggy. I can't even do anything. I don't know why it's lagging so much. I'm gonna delete our regular old Picasso drawing there. Refresh that, get back to our sculpt here. Yeah, I'm an all eggs in one basket kind of guy. I spend a lot of time in 3D. I am of the mindset that I can obviously draw more than just a stick person, but I don't spend a lot of time practicing drawing. I'm of the mindset that, you know, you can make a decision, right? You can have all these different skills, and you can spend some time leveling up your sculpting skill, and then your drawing skill, and then your painting skill, or you can take all that time that you would spread out against all of those and just put it all in one thing, which is what I do, and then raise that skill up, you know, 3 times higher than you would have if you would have dished it out into 3 separate things. And then with that skill coming up, some of those other skills start to improve as well. There's some overlap in some stuff. But at the same time, you know, I am a digital sculptor. This is how I make my living. So this is what I do. I don't get paid to draw stuff, so not a ton of reason for me, other than, you know, personal endeavor, to do a ton in that field, in my opinion. Not to say that your work won't get better for your practice in 2D. Like I said, I think there's a lot of overlap in artistic fields. Alright, so I was saying that we could look at how I created some of these straps. Specifically, we can do the wrist or the leg. Let's do the wrist up here, because this will be a little bit easier. And yeah, we'll just do that. They'll actually be about the same level, but we'll just do the wrist first. Alright, so how do we begin? There's a few different techniques for going about this. The way that I'm going to do it is the technique that probably works best on more complicated shapes, but on simple shapes it's a little bit faster than the other way. I think this method in general is probably the better way to go about it for most things. But let's look at duplicating our mesh just so we have a proxy to do this on. And then I'm just going to work only on my arm over here. So just this piece. Let's see. Charu says, what's the difference between your brushes and the standard ones? On Gumroad, they look softer. Oh, you're talking about my B brushes on my Gumroad? Let's see here. Yeah, my Gumroad is just Gumroad/Follygon. I recently uploaded these curve brushes because people were asking me to upload my cube tube brush, and I just threw in a few more. Rope, ruffles, and chain link, which we actually made the chain link for this mummy character up on the headdress. I'll show that off in a little bit. But yes, my B brushes are a collection of 8 or so different brushes that are modifications on the standard brushes. They are modifications that I've made to make these brushes work a little bit nicer for me and my my sculpting process. And I've just made slight modifications to them over years and years of using them. Just trying to. Is that right? That was tough to say. Thank you for the follow though. But yeah, my B brushes, lots of little tweaks to make them work a little bit better for me. I personally recommend, in all honesty, that if you're really new and starting out, it might be a good idea to grab another artist brushes, a set of brushes, to kind of speed along your workflow, just because it might make the process a little bit easier. But if you've been using ZBrush for a while, I really recommend a lot of the time that you make your own brushes, and or just use, get used to what you've been using. If you're going to switch to somebody else's entire process, it's a little bit easier to do that earlier on. But yeah, I mean, I can talk specifically about each individual brush, but I don't think I'm gonna do that for the next 15 minutes. So let's make some straps, some strapicas. So we got our arm here, our army, and we got our slice curve brush. That's the brush that you want to use. Let's draw out a slice at about where we think that bottom hit is going to be, and then we just have a tube of geometry. So I've just sliced this off and then selected what I wanted and then gone to delete hidden. That's in your modified topology, tool geometry, modify topo, delete hidden. So we got this, and now I think just from here we're going to run a Z-remesh with a target poly count as low as it will go, in the hopes that we can get some clean edge loops. And if that doesn't work, what we can do is actually add a slice to this. Ooh, nope, it did work. It worked perfectly, actually. So that worked out really well. If it was not cooperating, a technique that we could have done is done another slice into the center of our object and turn on keep groups so that ZBrush would know that we wanted an edge loop there, and it would help recognize the rest of this shape. So there we go. We've already got our basic initial strap here. From here, let's use scale. Scale out. And the way I'm going to do this is probably have this like really wide. It's going to look like one really wide strap, but once we do another strap over top, it'll feel a little bit better. So we'll take this piece, we'll duplicate it. Whoops. And then I'll just chop off a bunch of this. So then we have another one. And then all we have to do with this is add some thickness and clean it up a little. So I like to use the Zmodeler Brush and use extrude all polygons. That's how I like to add thickness. Really nice quick way to do that. We can flip our normals. Same here on this piece. Make sure our normals are flipped. And there we go. We've already started to get our straps in place. And then from here, I just like to crease this outer edge so that stays tight, and then we can smooth that out at a higher subdiv. And same thing on this guy, crease, crease, crease edge loop. Alright, so we've got the beginnings of our straps. Can even grab our poly paint color over here, set up our material. We want to make sure that that's just a little bit visually different. And then I'll probably be wrapping some of this around the hand. It's a little bit hard to interpret what's going on over there with that hand, but we'll try to figure that out here in a minute. Just to make this visually a little bit different though, I think I'll just be using my transpose tool here to get some stretching going on. Play around with that, get that feeling real good. And continue to play with these and just tweak them around. But that's the entire process, really quick, of how you can set up, start making your own straps. And then of course we can get one strap hanging down, and we could even make this a continuation of this strap, make it feel like it's all flowing together as one. This is how I would start blocking this out though. Just trying. Oh man, your name is so hard. I'm not gonna try again. I'm terrible with the names. It's not my fault, I promise. It is my fault. It's all my fault. Whoa, come back. So when I'm working on something like this in a specific area, typically I'll hide everything around it just to make it a little bit easier to work on, so I don't have to sit here and have everything else get in the way of my camera. Just a lot nicer. Once we get proper folders, it'll be even easier to mess with visibility for all this stuff. Can't wait for that. That'll be really exciting. And let's just wrap around here a little bit more. And we can sit here and slice up and create additional wrappings. It's really up to you. Just based off the concept, I don't know, maybe we could... Here. Let's duplicate this. And we'll make one more down here. After it quick saves. Whoa, come back please. So we'll do the extrusion, do the creasing, voila. Make sure that that's not creased. Freaking out on me a little bit. All right, and then I'll just scale that one up so that it's overlapping. And there we go, we got some more bandages. And if you want these to wrap around a little bit, we can do some tweaking with that to make those feel like they're wrapping a little bit more naturally, and try to get some actual overlap here, which can help with that. Oh. Yeah, just wrap to your heart's content. So the read that I'm getting is that it looks like it's kind of wrapping around her finger there. It's kind of hard to tell. It's like almost going up around her palm, like like you would see a boxer wear or something. And they wrap their fists. At least that's kind of the read that I'm getting off of that. And then the other technique for this is pretty similar. It's not super hard, but I recommend using a brush that's probably a cube. That's why I made this cube tube brush. I use it for eyes and eyelids and eyelashes and all sorts of stuff, so that you can start wrapping around a perfect cube. And what's great about this brush is that it has nice clean topology. It's a tri-parts welded brush. And show that so that the end caps are nice and clean. You can get a similar effect with the curved tube snap brush, and you can lower the brush modifier to 4 to get a 4-sided shape, but then it always has this awkward point at the end, and I don't really like having that extra point there, because then you can't crease edges and it messes with your edge loops and bevels and everything else. So hence the cube tube brush. Just a lot easier to work with. Let's see. Jonathan says, do you have a Discord? I don't have a personal Discord channel because I don't really have much of a need for one. At least I don't think I have much of a need for one. It's not like people are clamoring for a Follygon Discord that I know of. But I do I am the admin and creator of the ZBrush community Discord. There's an official ZBrush Pixelogic Discord. There's also a community Discord that was created a little bit before that. And there's a ton of great people in there. If you're looking for help, critique, or anything else, it's a great community, and there's a link down below in my under socials. And thank you, Jonathan, for the follow. I appreciate it, man. Hope you're having a great day. Holy crap, I am spacing. It is Friday. I was gonna say have a great Thursday. Wow. Hence the energy drink. Like I said, things have been a little hectic over here lately. Holy crap, guys, it's Friday. Yay, Friday. Don't worry though, we'll still be streaming tomorrow. Same time, same place, noon EST. Right, yeah. How are these bandages feeling? Do we want to make more bandages, or do we want to work on other stuff? Like I was saying, bandages and all this, like, it's kind of secondary, of course. I've been trying to focus a little bit more on the silhouette, and I know that can get a little overwhelming and boring if we do a ton of that. I'm going to delete that. And let's see. What is wrong here? Oh. Pori, thank you for the follow. What's going on? I'll I'll tell you what's going on over here. We forgot what day of the week it was. That's what's going on. That's what kind of day it is. Moist Buns says, been there since last year. Yeah, I've seen Moist Buns hanging around for a while. Sorry there's not a command set up for that. I could do that. Let's see. I don't have my Twitch pulled up. This will be a little bit annoying, Inception-like. Let's scroll down. Yeah, just down here under follow me, not under social, sorry. Discord, join ZBrush Discord. But yeah, if you guys are looking for help, critique, there's a bunch of different sections. Or if you're just looking for a great community of people, like-minded individuals, great group of friends. Alright. So, we've focused on our clavicle, on our torso here, just looking at proportions and starting to clean stuff up and get a nice little separation between some of these areas. It's a little hard up here. I think what I want to do right now is run a quick Dynamesh on this to solidify some of these areas, like in the belly button. Let's see. So you can't tell right now. If I cut in here, you can see how that's going into the other side like that. That's because I used move backface masking to start pushing some of the center geometry together to get it to overlap so that when I do Dynamesh, it'll close off all of that and clean that up. And I don't have to Dynamesh this, but I prefer to do it this way just to really clean that up. And then I have these polygroups here. I'm a little tough to see, aren't they? With all those polylines going on. But what these polygroups inform to my mesh is that, hey, I want you to create edge flow around these specific areas, and it just helps clean up the form a lot nicer when I remesh that if I need to. I switch back and forth between Dynamesh and remesh topology really quick while sculpting all the time. It just kind of depends on what I need with my surface. Hot girl. I don't know about that. She's getting there though. Slowly but surely. Alright, I need... The whole reason I already put these bandages... We're going to play with the hair next actually, because that's really bothering me. But the whole reason I put these bandages around the neck right away was so that I could hide the separation between the body and the head underneath those bandages, and I never did that. So let's do that. Find my body, and then I can work on the clavicle and the transition between that neck there a little bit, because once I merge this down in Dynamesh, it's fine how it is, but this is going to need to be cleaned up, and then we can also soften some of this and get that feeling real nice. So just a quick smooth. I also like to use my trim brush, holding Alt, just get in there, fill all that in a little bit, smooth out that transition. We'll fix the poly paint color and everything else. And then for this part of the head / neck, wait, what's going on here? What's this extra head? I don't need this. Why are there 2 heads? Why are there 3 heads? I was using those for proxies for something and I don't remember what. Alright, so then once we paint this up, we're not going to be able to see any seam because it'll be hidden under those bandages, and we'll be good to go. But yeah, let's also focus on our hair. I just wanted to hit this with a quick smooth pass. ZBLZZ, thank you for the follow. Zibbles. What's going on, Zibbles? Alright, so just a quick soft pass on there. Like I said, I like to make stuff really hard and sharp in the beginning, and then knock it back a little bit later. Okay, so for the hair, for those that are new and haven't seen our process up to this stage, these are just low polyed pieces of geometry. Let's turn on line. If I can click on it, it's so tiny. So hard to click on these little things sometimes. But yeah, just low poly pieces of hair that I've sculpted in there, or poly modeled in there really. Subdivided up, smoothed out, and adjusted. And now we're starting to get a little bit more variation. Obviously we need to work on our connection point up here, but we can do that here in just a moment and start getting our hair in a little bit of a better place. So to do that, let's see, let's hide. Got a lot of junk going on this, so let's hide everything below the neckline, just so we're not here. I'll just drop her over here so people can see our progress if they pop in. Oh, all right, and I have a group there. Perfect, cool. All right, so how we gonna do this hair? I think I'm gonna hide the headdress just so it's not in the way while I'm working. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so the the top piece of our hair, obviously just a really simple piece of geometry. Needs some work. And we'll blend these together and start adjusting this entire shape. Alright, I'm going to add some quick subdivs, and I'll just smooth that all together. Zoso! What's going on, Zoso? Thank you for the follow, man. Hope you're having a good Friday. That's right, guys. I know what day of the week it is now. Alright, so up here, before I do this, let's look at our overall shape, how we feeling. If there's any large changes we want to make. I don't really know. It's been a while since I've looked at this hair. I have polygroups set up on these pieces of hair so that I can adjust each one individually real quick. There are a few ways that you can modify polygroups real fast. I just prefer to mask stuff off really fast, but you can use topological masking, or you can use mask by polygroup, and they're both pretty efficient, so you don't have to mask stuff off. I just like having the visual of the mask here so that I know what I'm working on. I'm like, okay, just this individual strand of hair. And then also, when you're working topologically, you have to make sure that you click that mesh first, whereas when it's masked, you don't have to do that. So what's great about ZBrush with your brush size here, that outside ring, I can't really point to it because you can't see, but that outside of the red ring here, I can actually start my stroke over here if I want to have that outside edge be affected less. So it gets stronger the closer it is to the center of this red circle, but if I just want to move that a little bit, instead of going here and affecting this whole piece, I can just barely grab it with the corner of that red circle. You can't do that with topological masking on, hence why I use just standard mask it and go type effects. So I'm wondering if I were to Dynamesh all this together really fast. I just want to see, oh gosh, make sure we don't have any holes in here. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. But let's sit here and mess with our shape. Silhouette wise, I might want to make this a little bit more rounded. I like the volume that we're getting in the back. towards the sides. I feel like it could be a little bit more volumetric. I feel like it gets a little flat. I like to step up and down through my subdivs while I'm making big changes like this, or even just sculpting, so that I can, if I need to make a really big change, grab the lowest poly and make like a really big move, and then that cascades up through here. That'll cascade those changes up through there, but it won't be, you know, if I tried to make that change to something like this, because it's so high poly, it's not going to take everything with it. So it's nice to have subdivs for that reason. There are a lot of good reasons to have subdivs. That's one that I really like when sculpting. All right, let's get a little bit more variation, and then we'll start merging some of this together. Whoops. I'm actually just gonna hide that. If you guys are sculpting in ZBrush and you're having trouble with like visibility and stuff, I highly recommend setting a hotkey for the solo button. I use it all the time. I just set it to G because it's close to F, and that's where my hand is always like in the same quadrant of my keyboard. So G is always pretty close by. It's just really nice so that whatever active subtool you have, if you just want to see that by itself, you can do that really, really fast. Very handy. Highly recommend. Probably one of my most used hotkeys. I don't know, we could sit here and add, like we could split this hair up even more, but I don't really think that's necessary for something so simple and stylized, especially based on the shapes that I'm seeing here. I like to have individual hair tubes. I don't know. I wonder if there's a way I could keep these separated and clean up that ugly seam up there. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. There is a way. I'm so dumb. Let's hide the seam. Of course, like we always do. Also, let's talk about for a moment this bandage going across her face up this way. Where is that going? Where is this bandage going? It's tucking up under her hair and wrapping around her head. Like, how does that make any sense? I have no idea. But I've done it. Some things are just cheated in 2D and you're like, why? Why? What were you? How? Why? So many whys. I'm fine with cheating certain things in 3D to get the same like 2D appeal or whatever, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just a little bit too far. Ah, gosh. I'm so smart. Now we don't have to merge all this if we don't want. Just hide the seam. We can even sculpt up on top of the head if we want to get some additional form up there. So much nicer. So this is, if you have the opportunity to hide seams, definitely try to be creative with it. Like I did around the neck to the body. If you guys didn't see that one, pretty much the same thing. We haven't added in our poly paint, so that'll feel a lot nicer once we get to that stage. Let's see here. Let's undo a little bit here, because I want this front edge coming down some, up over there. And we'll add asymmetry and stuff to this, of course. Just a little bit of adjusting. And I think proportionally I could make the head / hair a little bit taller. We'll look at that in a moment. Just make sure that the size of the head is feeling good. Alright, let's look at making some large-scale proportional changes up here in the face. And I'm going to go into Transpose Master to do that. Since I didn't get to show you guys before, here's that chain link brush. I made this on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel. A very simple brush to make. It literally took like 2 minutes. If you guys are looking for a tutorial on how to make your own insert meshes or triparts welded brushes or just curved brushes in general like this, definitely check out that video. It should be up on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel on their YouTube channel by now. And then of course all my streams go up on my YouTube channel as well. So T-Pose, Transpose Master, let's jump in there. Let's get a quick save off before we do that. So for those that are new or don't know, Transpose is just a way for you to take all of your subtools. So I think, let's see, 34. I got 34 different subtools. Think of subtools kind of as layers, I guess, would be maybe a good way to think about it. Not quite, but if you were to compare it to, if you're familiar with Photoshop layers, kind of like that. You can have multiple objects in one subtool, but each subtool that you have has its own individual undo history. So I think layers would maybe be a good comparison. And then think of Transpose Master as taking all your layers and flattening them temporarily so that you can affect all of them at once. So I've essentially appended all my objects into one object here. And then after I'm done, I can just hit a button and it'll cascade all those changes back to all my individual layers or subtools. Ooh, and our meshes around the neck have their normals flipped, so that's not good. We need to fix that. So I wanted to make the hair / head a little bit taller. Having some trouble selecting some of this junk. Let's just click all that. Mask that off. And I'm just gonna transpose this up. Let's make sure perspective's off while we do this. So proportionally, just to pull that up some. And then I think I want to also make the hair a little bit longer. So with your transpose tool, if you guys don't know, one thing that you can do that's really nice is, well, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with your transpose line, such as clipping, similar to a clip brush. This function is just built into it. And then with your move function available, you can skew shapes or stretch. It's also really nice. And that's essentially what I've done here to pull down on my hair. And while we're here, let's maybe just try to get a little bit more volume on that. Start to round out that silhouette a little bit more. Alright, and then after you're done making those changes, you can just click on T-Pose. Again, all that is just in your Z plugin Transpose Master palette. So let's hit that, going back. And that'll take a second to calculate. Aquarius says subtools are like separate meshes in Maya. Yes, but you can also have multiple meshes inside one subtool. So I try, for people that don't do a lot of stuff with 3D, just to try to put it in a different language, a different perspective, to try to make it make a little bit more sense. Especially when you're new to ZBrush and you're introduced to the whole tool, subtool thing. It's very confusing. You can also have layers in ZBrush on your subtools, on each individual object. But that's not something that I use too often unless it's for texturing, really. But our normals are flipped down here, so let's fix that. If you guys don't know what's going on with your flip normals, it's because I have double turned on so I can see backside facing polys. That's why this object looks a little bit weird here, so I just have to flip my normals. To do that, it's down in your display properties. Under Tool, at the very bottom, there's a little menu called Display. Let's add some sub-Ds here. A little bit of smooth. And I haven't really done a ton with asymmetry other than really on the bandages. I mean, we can sit here and play with these for a minute. Once we get into posing, we'll feel a lot better. And I could also do that with these on the face, since these are all low poly. Or actually, no, they're not. I just need to smooth some of this up. Since I've been doing these hard creases. It's already feeling a lot nicer. Anytime you're trying to help an edge turn, I recommend, well, just because looking here between these two transitions, obviously for something that's a wrap across the face, we don't want this really hard edge here. It doesn't really make any sense for the material. And I just kind of left these in as a placeholder. That's fine. We can maybe sculpt some additional form on top of these if we want to start getting some additional secondary form in there. I'm probably going to leave it for now. We can return to that later if we want to play with that. Just continue to soften these edges real quick. I'm just doing a quick smooth pass on a higher sub-D. We could also bevel the edges. Another example of helping to bevel an edge so that it has a better distance read, specifically here on this mesh. Originally, I think I might actually still have the undos for this. Let's see. We'll step back. See if it complies or crashes. Awesome, there we go, cool. So these little cuts in here that I made very quickly, I just used my, I think I used the MAH cut or the dam stand, or I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But from a distance, those forms don't read incredibly well. So because this is supposed to be a hard surface, kind of metallic piece, I started defining these edges to help help the light catch on there a lot nicer so that it reads a lot better from a distance, well, distance and close up. But the essential idea here is, if I were to soften these, if I soften this edge up, kind of back to where it was, just so you can see the difference here, the way the light is working off of this shape transition versus this one, essentially you have, if you're looking at it from the side, this shape here with this top edge right here, and when the light is coming down through here to that crack, it's essentially going from that shadowed area to the highlighted area, and it's transitioning immediately. But here, because it's softened, it's transitioning a little bit more gradually, which, just for this type of material, I wanted that really nice hard cut. So these are some of the things that I try to keep in mind for, materials and different edge qualities. Another thing for edge quality, another example of like edge quality in general, is around your face. Obviously, we just have our eye here, but whenever you're starting to draw out that hard edge underneath the eye, I will initially put in that line flowing all the way through and just wrapping up towards this direction. But then you really want to think about, how old is your character, or even just looking at your reference. A lot of the time on younger characters, you're not going to have this incredibly hard edge underneath your eye all the way through. So as that starts to go up towards the outside, you can use some different brushes to start fading out that transition. So you never want to have an edge where you just have, let's see. Here, I'll even make this even stronger. You never want to have a hard edge where you just have hard edge begin, hard edge end. You want it to gradually, you want it to flow into that hard pinch and then softly fade out. Hence why, somebody was asking earlier, is a pen or a graphics tablet necessary for sculpting? I would say it is in the case of pressure sensitivity, because it's so important to work with. And because of the I guess you could sculpt with a mouse, but sitting here sculpting and just being able to do, smaller strokes, turn that off. Being able to do light strokes or really big strokes. If I had a mouse, I would have to sit here and adjust my mouse size and adjust my Z intensity and then make a really tiny stroke, because you only have on and off with a mouse. There's no pressure sensitivity there. With a pen, you get all that good variation, which is very nice to have. How am I making polygroups? Specifically on what object? I have a lot of techniques for making polygroups. Are there any polygroups on this? On the face here, these quick polygroups were just made with masking or selection tools. One trick that I like to use a lot, it really depends on which object you're talking about, I guess. But with something like this, between these polygroups, what I've done is just created a mask. I used a combination of the mask lasso and the mask pen. And then after you're done making your mask, here, we'll make a new one back here. You can just make a mask real quick and then press Control W and it will polygroup whatever you have masked. So mask, Control W, mask, Control W, mask, Control W. Or if you have nothing masked, Control W will polygroup whatever's visible. So you can make a selection, whoops, yeah, that's fine, doesn't really matter. So you can make a selection and then just press Control W and it will polygroup all of what you have visible, which is very nice. And then I'm actually using polygroups to my advantage when remeshing as well. So hopefully that answers your question. Nova Bjorn, what's going on, dude? Welcome back. It sounds like that answered your question. Perfect. Awesome. Well, let's take a look at everything here. I'm gonna delete our old ZBrush, Subtool Master combination there. I'll also turn off our lens on our eye. And let's just see how things are coming together here, where we want to do a little bit more work. I think it would be pertinent to probably just get the rest of the wrappings in around the legs so that we at least have that in, as well as do the wrappings over here on this hand and the hanging down pieces, just to make sure that we have all of our subtools in. And then after that, we would probably want to start making all the chains around the headdress, those little chain links. I've already made one, and I made a brush to continue making those, so I think that's a good idea. Proportionally, I should really thin out this arm. It gets like super thin through there. But to do that first, I'm gonna have to remesh our body here. So I used Dynamesh on it earlier. I'm demonstrating step 4, merging some geometry together across your X symmetry. And this kind of stuff is a lot easier to clean up once we have subdivs. Let's see here. There's also some meshes merging together, and I can clean up a lot of this stuff too. Subdivide these and start softening the edges. I think that'll be a really good idea. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that we need to do on this. Just a matter of taking it one step at a time. Not getting overwhelmed and getting caught up in one area for too long. So let me Z-remesh the body, clean it up, and then we'll taper down our forearms. Looking at the silhouette there, we need to make some more form changes. Her, at least her upper arm here is pretty much just a cylinder. Maybe like slight taper down, but we'll play with all that here. So let's just take our body. Remember, I have polygroups here all over the body that are going to inform ZRemesher. You can use ZRemesh guides as well. It's a little bit of a slower process than polygroups, in my opinion, and it's about just as efficient. I don't know if the algorithms are the same when using ZRemesh with keep groups. I would imagine that they're pretty similar, just because you get pretty similar results. But using ZRemesher guides takes longer to do, and then they're not helpful later on. What's great about polygroups is they're pretty easy to do when using masks and selection tools. They're easy to edit. ZRemesh guides aren't super easy to edit. But then also after you're done, you have polygroups. You have selection groups that you can use to make additional changes. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, now later on, I want to use and just work on the legs. It's like, well, you can do that now. But there's our quick ZRemesh. I'm not sure why that freaked out around the head up there. It looks like the polygroup up there. There's too many polygroups freaking out. So I'm just going to quickly polygroup all of that so that we don't have any more problems around the neck. And then run one more ZRemesh. So I'm remeshing with keep groups on at a target poly count of 5K, which will be about 10,000 after it mirrors across the X symmetry. And I think we'll be good in the neck region now and not have that weird little explosion of meshes. I think what caused that is it was separated by 2 polygroups, and then it probably had a couple like individual polys in there that were polygrouped separately just from combining those meshes. That tends to make it freak out quite often. But yeah, there we go. Some decent topology really quickly. Decent for sculpting on. Exactly what we want and exactly what we need. I'll just do a quick close holes op just to make sure that we don't have any open faces. And then run about maybe 2 or 3 projections. Just to get all that detail back in there. There's really not a lot that I need to transfer, just to make sure that we're getting these lines here underneath the breast and get the tight areas in the crotch and butt, as well as maybe around the clavicle and armpit. So I'll run one more projection and that'll be it. Ah, Bill, somebody was, sorry, I didn't even see your question about the ZRemesher guides. Yeah, I was just talking about that. Hopefully that answered your question. Just finished my anatomy challenge, anatomy for my challenge during lunch break. Can finally move on to new things. Awesome, man. It's a good feeling. Does it always double the poly count when you have when you have symmetry on? Yes, it does. It does indeed. Pan Lethal says, what does projection do? Essentially, I Z-remeshed this to get a low poly model, but now I want to reconstruct some subdivision levels. So I have two meshes visible right now. I have solo mode on. You can actually hide your other mesh. It's a little bit more complicated. But I have this Dynamesh piece, and then I have this Z-remesh piece, and I was just stepping up through the subdivisions, because, you know, we got low poly here. If I were to subdivide this by itself, it would just start smoothing out and lose all the form that we have. But because I'm projecting at each step, we're keeping a lot of that form in there, which is very nice. So projection just takes form from one mesh and projects it onto another. If I put a sphere inside the body and told it to project, it would take the mesh of the body and project it out to the sphere, depending on the settings of my projection distance, of course. But that's the basics. Alright, so just a quick little cleanup around here as that transitions. Get rid of all the warble, blah blah blah. And then, let's see, let's take a look at our forearms for a moment. I'm going to turn off my hands, I think. And we'll position those in a moment. So let's see. I haven't really been paying attention to this silhouette over here, which is not good. Z-Hawk says, I wonder why the artist made her hands that color. I think she's supposed to be like, here, zoom in. She's supposed to be like infected or cursed or something. You can see like these veins, or maybe it's a tattoo. I think it's supposed to be like, I don't know. I think they're supposed to be like undead or cursed or something along those lines. I did not ask. Perspective. Azyro says, how do you move specific polygrouped geometry? Probably the easiest way would be to just mask off the specific area that you want to move, and then just move that by itself. So if I wanted to just move this arm, I would just mask off everything else and then, you know, move this however I wanted. Or only affect that area. Honestly, this is just too many polygons. I want to get more of this transitional hit here. Got a nice curve on the underside of the arm. And then a little bit of a straight there into that hip. That top muscle wraps up and grabs onto your upper arm. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. Man, this is so laggy. Do I have dynamic on or something? What's going on? Huh. It's annoying. The veins make it a little bit more clear. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be veins. At least that's how I've interpreted them. Yes, from a distance read, it does look like she just has green hands. Maybe we can improve upon that. Maybe we can make this like infection spreading type effect a little bit, I don't know, maybe we can make it like a gradient down her arm. I don't know, we'll play with it, figure it out. I don't want to think too much about poly painting right now. Getting a lot of lag. Let me clear this off the canvas real quick. No, still getting a lot of lag here. It's no good. Even while this is just masked, like, looks like it's being fine now. Maybe it's only certain brushes. I don't know. It looks like it's actually acting. That was weird. Looks like it's cool. I don't know what that was about. ZBrush is feeling a little pissy. I might have had some like dropped frames on stream or something. Hopefully not. Let me know if you guys are seeing any stutter or anything, and I'll look at it, look into it, see what's going on. Normally it gives me a warning, but sometimes it's just freaking out. Alright, and we'll just continue to clean up our silhouette here, now that we've started to shape that up. I want to try getting that. There's like almost no perspective going on between those, is there? This wrist over here is, I feel like, just as thick as that other one. It's just about the same. It's funny. Well, I should probably be referencing this one more then, since it's towards the camera. Because I might make them too thick if I go off of that other image. So let's taper in and just start to fix this silhouette more. These feel real big. Hey puppy, chill out. Do you ever use the 3D gizmo? I do, but only for deformers. Only to get to these. I've been using the Transpose Master for too long. I'm kind of too used to it. Plus, it's got a lot of secret functionality in it that a lot of people that have been using ZBrush only since the 3D gizmo came out probably don't know about. So, clipping, stretching, inflating. Like here's another one that I don't show off super often. You can actually inflate stuff with your transpose for quick little inflations. And that was like a pretty crappy example of how you would use it, but like here, let's say you actually wanted to inflate your forearm, right? I'm gonna turn on local sim as well. So inflate, or in this case, it's just growing and shrinking it, since I have that masked off decently. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it. Let's see, how many subdivs we got down here. Let's delete you and start combining some of these meshes. Merge down, and, oh, what's going on? We got, wait, what? Okay. Some of these are flipped and some of them are not. Flip. Okay, so when this happens, when a mesh explodes, never click undo immediately. Always quick save first, because there's a very strong chance that that ZBrush will crash on you. At least in my experience, that has always been the case. And that was a weird explosion for just flipping normals. I don't know why that happened. I don't think I've ever had that happen on a normal flip, but you know what? Whatever. I think it's fixed now. Alright. Let's reposition our bandages. Oh gosh. I love experiencing new and fun glitches every day. I should have taken a screenshot. I have a folder all full of fun little glitches. 3D of Tom. What's up? What's going on? Thank you for the follow, Tom. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Friday. Boy. I'm sure there's probably at least a few people in here that have no idea what's happening on screen, or have ever heard of digital sculpting or high-resolution 3D modeling. But if you are interested in learning more, it's just Pixelogic ZBrush is the software. I actually stream on their Twitch channels on Tuesdays at 6. If you guys want to come hang out, I'd always appreciate more people coming by and saying hi. But yeah, it's pretty much, I guess, for those that don't know anything about what you're looking at on screen, it's essentially just think of sculpting, but with digital clay. Typically, when I start sculpting on a new character or any new object, I always start from a sphere. Is that already a polymesh? No. Start from a sphere, literally just start pulling, pushing it around, and shaping it up into the basic shape that I need. What's going on, Frog the Hero? Welcome to the stream. And then there are a host of, brushes and tools that you can use here in 3D that just make the whole process a lot easier. Much more simple and fast than in traditional clay sculpting. Like if I want more resolution, I can just have that, or if I want to add on more clay or subtract clay, it's really easy to do all these things. But if I were to do a head, I would just start by blocking out all those shapes. It's just like working with, it's not just like working with clay, but it's, kind of a similar process. And obviously something a lot further along here in the process. Still nowhere near done, if you ask me, but we're getting there. We're making progress one day at a time. Let's see. So I wanted to do some more bandages as well after we looked at adjusting our forearm and some of our other stuff there. So let's continue looking at bandages for the hand. And for this little geometry here, this like pull down piece, I'm just gonna block that out really quick with, actually, so I could use something like a cube tube brush, just a curve brush, and pull that out. It's probably the quickest way to do something like that. There are a lot of other methods though if you wanted to initialize a cube of geometry and just stretch it out and add some edge loops. That's another way. And there's so many ways to do everything here. It's just a matter of finding out what works best for that specific moment for what you need. But that's probably a little bit too long. We'll adjust some of this and probably get rid of some of these edge loops as well. And get in here. Delete. I don't need to hide that right now. But I'm just going to delete maybe every like 2 or so of these edge loops, just so I have something more simple to work with. What up, shoot me? Thanks for the follow. What's going on? Alright, so some simple creasing so that we can retain hard edges. And voila! We have started to block out our hanging down strap. And I want that to be a little bit more straight, or a lot of it more straight. We'll play with that. Clay with Control Z. Yeah, that's kind of a good way to explain it in a few short words. That undo feature, right? In all honesty, like, I would say that undo is like not the most important thing for digital sculpting. If one thing was going to be taken away from me that would be detrimental, it'd probably be the ability to add and subtract. So with traditional clay, you can carve in with a tool. Whoa, that was weird. So with traditional clay, right, you can carve in. You can't just add, though, much like this. You'd have to take a tube of clay and like draw it out, sculpt it down, and then like blend it in. You can't just build up the surface. I mean, maybe if you have some kind of extrusion tool, like a pen that extrudes clay or wax or whatever you're sculpting with. I don't know, but I would say that that's probably the thing that is very, one of the things, that's extremely necessary for the process. There are a lot, but... Alright, so I'm just going to block out essentially where I want that to hang down from. And I don't need to make this connection super clean right now. I just want to focus on the actual shape at first. And our shape is way too way too curvy. This is pretty much just a straight hanging down rat. It almost makes me think that she's standing perfectly still. So to get that effect, I will delete all of these edges and make this perfectly straight, at least for the time being. And then I will add in some actual curve after the fact. But let's see, that's hitting at about her, roughly around that strap there, around the hip. Something like that. And then if we want that like little extra little piece hanging off, that's not really that hard to do. Insert a polyloop here. And extrude a single polygon. Okay. That poly loop didn't work for some reason. It split at the top. Ah, here. I know why. I should have chose a different option other than poly loop. It'll work now though. So for now I'm just gonna do this way. Just get like a little extra hanging down piece. Just something quick. Then we can play with creasing some more edges if we need to. Looks like we need to crease some of these. Should probably thin this out, right? Very thick. So I could just squeeze this together. This is probably like the quickest way to just thin that out real fast. And do that real quick. Which way do I need to skew this? Nah, that's fine. If I wanted to redo the thickness here so it wasn't getting this awkward skew, I could re-extrude the thickness. I think I'm just gonna leave it for now. It doesn't really bother me right now. Timid Clover, is raiding with 7 people. Thank you, Timid. I appreciate it a lot. Hope you guys are having a good day. Good Friday. Snake Hook. What's up with the Snake Hook? Snake Hook brush is pretty sweet. I like it. I am a fan. Really though, I feel like for most of what I do, the move brush gets the job done. Snake Hook is kind of a lot of the time it's a little bit too strong for what I need personally. So I stick to the move, but it is a nice brush. And that's a little bit more of an interesting shape, so we can play with that. Let's see. If we want to just start playing with this shape a little bit more, we can do that. Let's see, we will Subtool Master. Let me change my material here. Subtool Master Mirror. So when you're mirroring, you can't use your mirror and weld function or mirror with subdivs. So if you have subdivision levels and you want to retain those, you have to use Z plugin Subtool Master, and then it'll reconstruct your subdivs after it mirrors across. You can also do that manually, it's just slower. You just delete your subdivs, mirror and weld, and then reconstruct your subdivs. The button that I just pressed essentially does that in one click for you. Dropping off some very nice people. I'll lurk, but I gotta go eat and such. No problem. I appreciate the raid. Thank you, man. Hope you're having a good day and enjoy your meal. I was gonna say lunch, because it's about lunchtime for me. Enjoy your foods. Have fun. Oh, Tim and Clover, I think I remember your stream. I think I popped in on you one time. Thanks for hanging out. Z-Hawk, like coffee or tea, yeah. Same exact thing. Every morning, gotta get you yummy tea. Alright. Whoops. Just want to pop this over to the other side. And then we're gonna make some visual changes here. We'll use this, sure, whatever. Alright, so really cool function with Zmodeler, QMesh. You can QMesh out a polygon, whoop, and essentially just delete it. It's really cool. Awesome function. This edge loop in the middle, I want to bevel this. Ryder, what's going on? Thank you for the follow, Ryder. You're having a good Friday. Alright, and then let's get these few additional shapes here hanging off the bottom. Obviously, I'm going to have to change some stuff with the creasing and making sure that that's all feeling cool, but let's just try getting this going in the right direction. Looks good to me. And then, of course, we're going to have to do some creasing. Crease. Just a single edge. And we'll crease up these. Just because this shape is a little bit more complex now, if I try to crease edge loops specifically, it's probably going to break on me. So I'm avoiding doing that. I don't want to crease a bunch of edges and then have to recrease and uncrease. It just gets confusing. I'll just do it manually. It's just faster. Alright, and then that one comes down to roughly the crotch region, so we'll say about there. And I don't know, maybe we can twist it so that from our hero angle, our camera, we're going to be, I don't know if I'll be rendering from this angle. Probably. I'll probably be, I typically try to render around the same angle as my reference. Or sculpt with that hero angle in mind. So we'll try to get that facing the camera. What's going on in here? Wait, what? What happened? I don't... Something got messed up. Maybe when I rotated it, it freaked out? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Rotate. Must have had something unmasked when I tried that. Alright, let's make this one a lot longer. Scribber. And let's just take this edge and make this more of a point here. Voila! And then this edge, just some quick low poly tweaking. I like to keep stuff like that as low poly for as long as I can. Yeah, there we go. Chokitis, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Feeling a little flat to me through here, isn't it? I feel like if I could turn this surface a little bit faster. Here, I think even just that little bit helps. felt like we were coming up into the stomach really quick through this direction, and then it felt very boxy. Just round it out real quick. Like I said, I don't need a ton of form in here. Once we get some poly paint on there and clean up some of this in the stomach, I think we'll be in a good place. Speaking of which, I could very quickly just toggle on our ZBrush paint and fill in the base color for the body. This takes seconds to do. And then just grab a paintbrush with a low RGB setting and start painting up some of this variation in the skin. There's really not a ton of variation, but a little, since I've had that on black and white this entire time. I don't know, just something quick, just to get it feeling like it's in the same realm, so it doesn't feel all black and white the whole time. Alright. Now, some more straps in the hands. We also need to move our hands because they're misaligned now. Not even lined up. And I'll actually be taking that last strap and wrapping it around the hand to hide the seam. And I'll be doing some wraps around the hands as well in general. Proportionally, I don't feel great about the hands. I feel like I could pull the knuckles back, or at least get in here and pull back some of these segments some more, just to like really exaggerate this. Felt like that was coming up a little bit too much. I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at these. Trying to make the fingers feel longer, more monstrous. Kind of want to lighten this color as well while we're here. So let's see. RGB, set this to about like 10%. Fill that in by 10% once or twice. When you have these like really dark colors, it's just really hard to make out your form and what's going on there. I don't know, I feel like these are really dark. This is the color that I sampled originally, but just making that a bit lighter, I don't know, feels better to me. Alright, so I'm going to do some more wraps around here. And then we can work on some other stuff too. So I'm just going to pull these up and over that base part of the hand. I'm going to have more wrappings here, but I might as well start to get this going in the right direction. Cool. ZBrush paint, yeah. He used to do a bunch of like, he used to create a bunch of materials and stuff back in the day, years ago. He's not really active anymore, but you can download his materials, and ZBrush paint material is very similar to the Skin Shade 4 material. So if you're looking for a good like base painting material, I really recommend the Skin Shade 4, especially if you're working on stylized stuff. ZBrush paint is a little bit different. It also has some wax preview turned on by default. I don't have it on right now. I have it off, but if I turn it on, it might be a little bit strong. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can tell. Let's see. So if you look at her arm, it's a very subtle effect right now. It's creating a little bit of that subsurface scattering that you would see with wax. And you can make that a lot stronger, but I don't like to have it on while I'm sculpting. Alright, let's pull up some of these wrappings into her hand, at least over here. I'm going to say the end there for that hand, but over here, duplicate our hand. So we have a buck to put this stuff on. And let's figure out what direction we want these to go. So same exact technique, we're going to use the slice curve. We could also draw out some stuff, but I've found that this has been working pretty well. So I'm going to continue to try working with this. So let's do like one going across this way, and then like two going this way. So let me chop off my fingers, because that'll make this a whole lot easier. And start getting the shape of one of our wraps. So this first one is just going to go like this. So split. So there's one. And then why can't I undo on that? What the heck? Wait, what? Oh, okay. I'm so dumb. Just confused myself. There we go. That's what I wanted. And then I'll just do two this way. Alright, so now I have three different shapes here that are going to be the basis for my straps, or for my wrappings. And now all I have to do is remesh and clean up these, and then overlap them, position them a little bit nicer, and we will be good to go. So let's start with this bottom one, so that we can start layering this down here, and then work our way down the rest of the chain. So I've been using just ZRemesher on a really low setting to essentially just clean up this geo. It's been working pretty well, giving me decently clean stuff, but this shape is a little bit more curvy, so looks like it's not going to give us super clean edge loops. It's not the end of the world though. As long as I can have something low poly, it's easy to adjust. I think I'll be happy. And this looks pretty good. So I'm just going to overlap that over the other strap. And as long as we don't have any tries, down here, this the way this quad is going, this point here could actually cause some issues on the extrusion. Let's see. If it does, I'll redo this. So I'm extruding all polygons to make that more thick, and it's not too bad. Now I'm just going to leave that open for a moment. Alright, I think that'll do. Then we can make any adjustments to the form here, and then we can start overlapping these. Start making them feel like they're continuous instead of just individual circles or individual like loops going around. You wouldn't do one they wouldn't work like bracelets essentially. So getting some overlap there is going to help with that. Let's see. Whoop, I need to make sure I'm working on these separately. So this is a new glitch that has been happening a few times recently where my lines won't render. You can see that they're rendering over here on this mesh, but not over there. I have no idea what causes it, and I can't replicate it, but it's been happening pretty frequently. Pretty annoying. If anybody else has been experiencing that, let me know. So those are rendering now, okay. What about this one? Yeah, I don't know. It's working now, but very strange. Kind of annoying too, because I like to be able to see my polys, know what's going on. Why do I care about tries? Because for a thin plane of geometry that I'm trying to extrude, if there's a triangle, or in this case there are a couple, like here's a triangle, right? So when I extrude this, the way that it's extruded this geometry here is not clean. You can see that it's extruded a triangle there, and it's kind of messed up this edge. So when I smooth that, you see how it's got that weird corner there? So as I subdivide that, it starts to get this weird little pinch there. And the more tries you have, the more weird little areas you're gonna have like that. Same down here where there's this star coming down to a point. Anywhere where you have like 5 polys hitting in one area. It's this little star down here. Just very annoying to deal with. That is why I care about tries. Just makes sculpting harder. Sometimes they're okay. It's not like they're universally bad. In fact, sometimes you put them in there intentionally. This just isn't one of those cases. Ugh, I got too much stuff on screen at once. Where are my hands at? Oh, there we go. I should have hid this terrible edge here. Yeah, let's get the rest of these real quick. Extrude. I also need to flip the normals there. AccuCurve was on, okay. Alright, so let's remesh on this guy, and then we'll do the exact same strategy there. I'll just try this real quick. 0.1. I like to show you guys where some stuff is in the UI because I got a lot of stuff here down on my custom UI. So if I do anything too fast, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. 'Cause I don't I try to explain, you know, a lot of what I'm doing. Sometimes it's not possible to explain every single step of the process. Like right now, I'm slicing this up to try to force ZRemesher to give me edge loops, but just because of the shape of this, it's struggling. But there we go. So I've added that edge loop. I've cut through that shape to make ZRemesher say, ah, edge loop, gotcha. I understand. A lot of the time, ZRemesher does not understand though. Most of the time it does not. Alright, let's extrude all of our polygons here. And start creasing up some edges. Just like... So, this makes me think that I should redo that bottom piece, because look how this one's just so much cleaner. So much easier to work with. See, this is why we want quads on these pieces. Get a nice clean bandage that we can wrap around the hand and start adjusting the shape afterwards. So clean, so nice. Whereas with this thing, it's like, ugh, look at all that grody geometry, causing all these weird pinching areas. So let's take a step back real fast. Let's just see if we can fix it. And what I'll do is duplicate this and work on, so I'll keep this. I'll keep the one that we did that looks terrible, and then we can retry with a different mesh. So I'll try the exact same thing that I did before, slice it, and then remesh it. I have a feeling just because of this shape out here, it will probably not do exactly what we want. So maybe we can try to unify this shape a little bit, just so it's not such a crazy shape. Pull that out here. This will be easier to, like, as long as it's close to what we need, it's fine. I just want ZRemesher to put a loop through here. If we really want it to make a really clean edge loop, we can kind of force it with a, see, like that. That's terrible. We don't want that. We can really try to force it here. You can also use ZRemesher guides. Like I said, they're about the same. ZRemesher guides are about equivalent to ZRemeshing with groups. On something like this, ZRemesher guides might work a little bit better. This is probably, oh my god, that's so bad. So here, let's grab our brushes, ZRemesher guide, and I'll just very quickly draw a loop around here. So this is saying, hey ZBrush, put an edge loop around here. We can even draw some additional polys or guides to help it with the geometry. We'll see what this one loop does. Another thing you can do is, so it's about the same quality, at least the edges are clean. So I'm just going to keep this, I'm not going to try anymore. The outside edges are clean, I'm happy. And our shape is a little wonky, a little bit messed up, but that's okay. We'll fix it. Another thing we can do is use our poly modeling brush, the Zmodeler Brush, and we can clean up some of this if we wanted. We can delete some excess geometry. We can add additional loops. There's a lot of different functionality there. I think for the most part, this is fine. I don't know. We can like try deleting some geometry. I don't know. I'm cool. I'm cool with this. I will not complain about decent auto topology. Just the fact that ZRemesher exists is pretty awesome. I've been able to get some pretty clean topo out of it before. Nothing that would be comparative to manual retopology, of course. You're never really going to get that. But pretty dang close. Alright, so Zmodeler, hold the space bar over the poly, extrude all polygons, awesome. Do a quick extrusion, a quick crease on these outside edges, and voila. We got our next two straps, and then all we have is this last one here that we can very quickly start preparing. So same thing here, I have a feeling that we'll have some trouble with this shape, but let's just do a quick ZBrush and see what happens. I wish that we could have additional windows in ZBrush. So like I could be working on this piece here, but you could see it updating as I went over there. Like as I started making those changes, that would be nice. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Just the way ZBrush works, I have a feeling that would be pretty tough to do. Multiple windows though. That's a pretty high up on my list. Whoa, Nelly. Trying to delete this point. Jesus, what is going on here? Alright. So, how am I going to bridge this? I don't really... So unfortunately in ZBrush, like in Maya, it'd be really easy to connect these points together. In ZBrush, we don't really have that functionality. So I think what I'll have to do is Zmodeler bridge edges, bam, bridge edge, bam, and do this the old-fashioned way. If I wanted to pop this into Maya or Modo or anything else, that'd be a lot easier, but that takes a lot more time than, you know, just a quick little puzzle solve there. I don't know if that would work specifically there, because I don't know if it, like here. Essentially this is, if we delete a single poly, can you stitch when it's going to create a try? Yeesh. Okay, so hold on, that does edge loops. Yeah, I think not. Like here, if I delete this, can I stitch what happens here? Yeah, I think it's going to do the entire shape up top, so I think that would have done all of that, which is why I try not to use that. Like I said, it doesn't have just the ability to my knowledge, I don't think you can hover over vert. I don't think there is a... I don't know, maybe the vert stitch does work for that. I've never actually... I don't know if I've tried the vert stitch. Here, let's duplicate. So we got... I did clean that up, but let's undo. Let's go back. Let's check it out. So I've never tried this before. So Zmodeler vert stitch. It does, it does. I did not know that. There you go. There you go, kids. Whoa, what happened? Stitch, please. What? Stop. Awesome. Cool. So it does. I did not know that it had the vert stitch function. I thought it only had edge stitch. So that's why I didn't use that, because it freaks out. But the vert stitch, that's awesome to know. We'll try using that next time. But with a quick little, like I said, puzzle solve, we were able to figure that out. Yes, in Max and Maya, there's a lot more poly modeling capabilities. Yes, it looks like the vert stitch function is the same. I didn't know that, but it's good to know. Good to know. The edge stitch, it's unfortunate. Normally, right, when you're hovering over your different functions, like for example crease, you have different targets. Apparently with stitch, you only have the target hole, which is unfortunate. I wish you could just target a single edge. Maybe in the future we'll get something like that. I wonder why that is, like functionally, like what's happening under the hood that doesn't allow that function to happen. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know more about how that works and why it's not possible. But it looked like the vert stitch. Sweet. I like that. Next time we'll use that if we run into a similar problem. Pre-drag. Thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate it a lot. Hope you're having a good Friday, dude. Alright, let's get our last little Zmodeler extraction in here. Or extrusion, not extract. Pretty much the same thing functionally. And then we'll just crease up our edges. And we'll be in a good place. Well, bam! Alright, so now it's just a matter of adjusting these however we want. I can sit here and play with this all day. But I don't know, we can move on to something else. How are we doing on time? We're only at about like 3 hours. Alright, so let's set up our poly paint here. Grab MRGB, grab our material. Whoops. And then I'll fill this in for all this. Oh, wait, what did I just do? Oh, that's right. We redid that. Here, delete. There we go. Alright, cool. So just going off the concept here, it looks like the hand is more wrapped up than it is here, where it kind of stops at the wrist on the one side. If we want this to be over on the other hand, we can always mirror it across, but I kind of like the asymmetry. It's nice. Biz Cochito de Chocolate, I'm sure I butchered that, but thank you for the follow. What's going on, Kira? How's it going? You absolutely can share your second sculpt in the chat. I'll have to check it out a little bit later, though. That is very interesting. I'm not sure what's going on there with the edges. Yeah, very weird. Z-Hawk, what's up, man? What's going on? Tell me. I am waiting with bated breath. Or do I actually have to guess? Because there's only a million things that I could guess. Why is that a thing in English? Why do we do this, guys? We're like, hey, guess what? And you just say what? But like, why do we say it that way? Like, guess what? It's like, I don't know. Are you hungry? Like, did you win the lottery? There's only a billion things that are possible here. That's a good one. I would have never guessed that. Zeok said that he is using he's using red wax. Oh god. No. Why you do this? Oh, by the way, my chat app that displays chat on screen has been broken for the longest time, but I finally got it working the other day. I just kind of forgot to turn it on. I'll turn it on for the next stream, I think, so that we can get the well, I don't know. I've kind of gotten used to it being off. I don't know if you guys care. Probably people watching on YouTube later on, so they can get context for what's going on. But other than that, it kind of takes up more screen real estate. I don't know if you guys care here watching live, but if there is a preference, do let me know, because either way it doesn't affect me too much because I can't see it while I'm sculpting. It just gives me less screen real estate to work with. So if I want to sculpt over here or anything, and I have the chat over there, or if I want to put references over here, I can't have my chat over there. I run out of room. Try to use as much of my screen as I can. Alright, let's turn everything back on. Bam. Except for our spooky eye. I might do something with that later. I think, Hennelik, thank you for the follow. What's going on? Appreciate it. I think the material I have, yeah, I just have a hand-painted material on the eye right now. I've kind of kept that off just because it was a little bit distracting earlier on. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I'd like to redo a lot of stuff in the eye and try out something else. We tried a few different styles last stream, but there's still a lot of room for improvement there. In terms of shape and everything else here in the head, we're pretty far off silhouette-wise, so I think the back of the head is going to have to become a lot larger. If you look at the head here, in my opinion, it already feels pretty big, but when you start talking about like the anime style of head, if we, I'd have to load in the project, but if you look at it, like Google any like bald 3D anime character, like 3D sculpts, or if you can find any references of anything, the head is just extremely large in the back, and the face is pretty small on the head. So I think to get more into that realm, I'll be doing some more stuff with that next stream, just so that it feels like the same character, because right now it feels like the face is too large and the head is much too small. So we'll have to play around with that for sure. The legs will have to be pressed together. We'll have to do some wrapping around there. I think the length of the legs could change a little bit more too. Lots of stuff. There's always a lot more that needs to be done until there isn't. Let me save this out here real quick on my actual folder. Big Brush says, following the Japanese Art Station challenge. Awesome. Beginning to do a body. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm into it. Bill says more screen is better. I'm kind of the same mind, but let's see. Light bulb. Yes, red wax. Oh man, guys, the red wax material haunts my dreams. Actually, I should make one of the. I think I might be able to have 2 emotes on my. Or 2 custom emotes or whatever on my channel now. I don't really know how it works, but I think I get 2 for subs, and I think red wax should definitely be one of them. Yes, watching the VOD on Twitch is nice because it shows the chat on the side, but unfortunately Twitch for affiliates, you can't save all of your VODs. Which is why I upload them all on YouTube, so that if anybody misses anything, they're just on my YouTube channel forever. I think so somebody correct me if I'm wrong, do Twitch partners get unlimited space for their VODs? Do you guys know? Off the top of my head, I do not. I thought that was the case, maybe it's not. Whoa, what just happened? That was weird. Thank you, Henetic. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, we're not there yet. There's still a long way to go. They just get a few more weeks. Oh, okay. I thought they had unlimited. Well, anyway, either way, they all go up on my YouTube channel, like I said. So, I get them forever no matter what. The concept artist, yes, I haven't pulled up her Twitter page here in probably an hour or two. But yep, just Shep, literally just Shep on Twitter. There's a few underscores in there, but right there, underscore here. Let's copy this, and I will dump this in chat for you guys. So you can just click. Definitely go give Shep a follow. Awesome concept artist. Lots of really cool stuff. I'm not going to sit here and scroll through her timeline because she has some NSFW stuff, so we'll also be playing around here proportionally, I think, a little bit more with the hips and everything else, but I think, let's see. Oh, it is Hennel. I'm sorry, I can't read. It's actually my job to mispronounce everyone's name, so don't feel too bad. I get everybody wrong. Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see. Alright, so we've focused on our hands some more. I feel like we could push that even further. Like, I wonder how far can I push this before it just completely breaks the scale of this. Let's try, I wanna play around here a little bit and just try increasing the scale of these claws even more. So when you're using your transpose or 3D gizmo to scale stuff that's symmetrical, this will happen. So if that's happening for you, turn on local symmetry, and then when you scale, they'll scale locally to themselves. Just a little tip there. Side effects. Thank you for the follow. What's going on, side effects? Just now given the follow? What's going on here? Side effects, you've been here for days, for weeks. How far can I push these? Make them real big, real giant. We'll try something like that, sure, for now. Sculpting along. You don't know how you didn't follow earlier? Watching you, keeping my eyes on you. He wanted his follow to be dramatic. Nah, I don't think so. That doesn't seem like side effects style. They're way too chill. Mostly in lurk mode. Most people are in lurk mode right now. That's just how it goes. I don't mind. I just hope that I never really know. I like I said earlier, I try to talk through some of my process here. It's hard for me to talk through everything, so I never know how many people here are like, yeah, ZBrush, digital sculpting, I know what's happening, or how many people are like, what the, is this on screen? I have no idea what this is. So the more people there are that know like stuff about ZBrush, typically the more I'll talk about, you know, functions in my process, and then there are less people that don't really know too much about digital sculpting. For me to describe some of this stuff is kind of somewhat somewhat not irrelevant, or not relevant. It sounded like I said irrelevant. It is somewhat irrelevant, just because talking about the process when there's so many unknowns is kind of not very helpful. I still just enjoy talking through my process while I sculpt, though. Hopefully it's helpful to some. I need to auto groups this. Got one of these going in the leg. And as I make more changes to the body, that's going to get even more annoying to adjust, but I like having a lot of those subtools in there while I work. Even stuff like this can help you figure out proportions. Poly paint can also, like color, can help you figure out proportions as well. So a lot of this stuff is very helpful. Dude, that emoticon of Ashley's face is pretty terrifying. I actually here. I have a new one in the works from an old video that I have. Let me pull it up real quick. I have a new emoticon. I think I'm gonna replace my little Follygon head, because it's nowhere near as fun as, let's see, where did I save it? 1 second. Emotes. This one's pretty good. Oh wait, why is that so small? Oh. This one's pretty good. I like this one a lot. Let me see. Here's the other real good one. I don't know. I can't decide which one's better. I think I like this one on the right a little bit more. These are from like a couple years ago from this old Snapchat video I have, and I can show it real quick. I do have it. It's kind of stupid and without. It's like one of the just here. I think it's this one.
He's a fucking turd! She takes the guitar and smacks He did it in front of a Subaru!
So we were watching, God, what's the movie? The Room, and my friends are all drunk and just yelling at the TV the whole time, and I'm just sitting there playing on Snapchat with these stupid giant inflated face filters, and yeah, that is the result of that. Ashley's emote terrifies everyone. Yeah, it's a good one. Yes, quality. I don't know about quality, but yeah. Yes, the one on the right for sure. First raid boss from WoW that you killed was Lurker. I don't know enough about WoW for me to understand who the Lurker character is. I do play Hearthstone though. I like me some Hearthstone. Alright, let's see. Let's mess with some of these straps a little bit more. Come on back. Alright, let's start cleaning this up. I just want to soften the edges some. Gosh, select lasso. So annoying. Lurker was a Murloc? Ooh, that makes sense. Yeah, probably. I don't know how, but I just like missed World of Warcraft completely. Probably because I didn't have any money to play World of Warcraft and you had to pay for it. So I just played poor kids World of Warcraft, which was RuneScape, and I played for free. And yeah, that was it. Just a ton of RuneScape. But a lot of my friends played RuneScape as well, so it worked out. RuneScape, the good old days. Scamming kids and asking them to join your guild for 5k gold, and then you just immediately log out as soon as they give it to you. Or you bring them into the wilderness so you can kill them and take their stuff. Ah, RuneScape, the good old days. Oh my gosh, RuneScape Mobile? Yeah, I was looking on my phone the other day and I saw that they Jagex released RuneScape for, I don't know if it's on iPhones, but it's on Android now. I was like, maybe I should download this. But no, I cannot. There's no feasible way that I could play RuneScape right now. Sounds like a terrible idea. Yes, it was me. I was the one who scammed you in RuneScape. It's a strong possibility. Guys, I have a confession to make. I am Zezima. Zezima, for those that don't know, was the guy on old school RuneScape that was always at the top of the leaderboards. That's me. I am the Zez. It'd be funny if it were true. Like I said, I never played or paid for RuneScape, so I never even had a pro account or whatever. But I did have a ton of money in gold. And by a ton, I mean, back then it was a lot. I think now, like, everybody has millions of gold. Like I said, the good old days of RuneScape. Scamming noobs and killing them in the wildy to take their junk. Gamer, thanks for the bit cheer. Does your YouTube channel have a good tutorial for character modeling? A lot of stuff that I do on my YouTube channel and on my streams here is for character modeling. So there's a huge backlog of stuff on my YouTube channel. It's just YouTube/Follygon. You can just Google Follygon and it'll probably be the first link that pops up. But all my streams go up there, and then I have a ton of tutorials and videos on that. And then since I haven't shouted out my Gumroad in a really long time, I have complete beginner courses on there, quick start courses for people that are just getting into ZBrush and want to get up and running as fast as possible. And then I have some more intermediate and advanced stuff for character work. So you can check out that. That's just Gumroad/Follygon. I actually recently uploaded some curve brushes because I had some people that kept bothering me about my cube tube brush. So I uploaded the cube tube brush finally, and a few other curve brushes. That's all on there too. There's a link somewhere below to that stuff, but definitely check it out if that's something that interests you. I'm gonna go play some StarCraft 2 to chill a bit. Sounds like fun. I don't think I've ever played StarCraft. have to get and go watch and learn for class. Well, yeah, best of luck to you. Best of luck to you, man. As I always tell everybody, if you guys have any questions or things that you can't figure out on your own, you can always feel free to email me. It's just follygon@gmail.com. If I can help out, I definitely will. Oh. Oops. I actually got an email maybe like a month ago now. It was a pretty funny message, and I might have to read it on stream, but I wouldn't want to out the guy, so I'd have to blur out his name and stuff. It was just a really funny message. It was I don't even know how to describe it without reading it. I'll have to pull it up sometime. Let's see here. Alright. I'm gonna see something with this eye real quick that I made. So I think this should still be in effect. So I have two eyes in place right now. One eye that I hand painted as a sphere. I think I want to use this physical eye that I made. I have an eyeball and an actual lens, and then on the lens I have some transparency set up for the render. Let's see if it's still on. I'm just doing a quick render to test it out. Or not. Oh, there we go. So I think I like the effect that I get from the transparency eyeball a little bit more in the physical nature of this. But obviously I want to make some changes to the paint and also just overall changes to the head. It just kind of looks a little creepy without the with the lens on there. So I've been keeping that off and just leaving it unshaded. Avoid the creepiness. Let's see here. Let's see. Kira says read it. I'm not sure. Might have missed something here in chat. Alright. So we've smoothed out our wrappings here. We're still missing the wrappings on the leg, but I am feeling stupid hungry right now. And I feel like we've done a lot of good stuff here today, but we still have a lot of progress to make. Like I was saying, the proportions on the head, making the back of that head just kind of a ton bigger, and then starting to mess with stuff here in the shoulder girdle region. Proportionally, I think there's a lot of stuff that can change there, and probably just in the stance in general. We still have a long way to go, but we've made a lot of good progress today. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks everybody for all the new follows. Read the funny email. Oh no, I'd have to dig for it. I deleted it, so I'd have to find it. Take me a while to dig for it. So I'm not going to shout out anything else here because I just shouted out my Gumroad. Other than the concept artist whose work I'm working off of, definitely go give her a follow. It's just Shep on Twitter, literally just Shep. And I'm just going to put her link in the chat for you guys. So definitely go give her a follow, or at least check out her work. Really cool artist, lots of really cool concepts. And let me make sure that this is indeed saved before I kill this. But, oh, you know what? Because I actually remembered this time, we should do a raid. We should raid somebody real quick here at the end before I go eat some foods. So let's see. Who's on right now that we want to raid that's doing some cool art? Any sculptors? Anything like that? Always like to try to find some cool artists. Let's see. preferably some sculptors. Bob Ross marathon has been going on for a while. I don't think we should raid Bob. Let's see here. Anybody doing some ZBrush sculpting live right now? I see one sculptor. Some 2D artists. Lots of 2D artists. Lots of people doing some digital painting. Ooh. Playing in the clay. I might have found a sculptor. I feel like there's not a lot of sculptors on Twitch. Thanks, Keymation. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. And Gamer7. Let's see. Angry Monday as well. And everybody else. Thanks, guys, so much. I'm letting this ad play. This 30-second long ad. So that we can find out who we're going to raid. Because I don't know what the person's doing. And I don't want to just click raid before we go crazy here. Before I get to see everything. Alright. Raid it up. Whoop. Alright, so, wait, that's going. That'll happen in like 10 seconds. Again, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I stream every day at noon EST, Eastern Standard Time, and then I stream on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So come and hang out on the next one, and we are ready to raid. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Have a great Friday and a great rest of your weekend. Bye, guys.